Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our first impressions of Phanerozoic 1, Palaeozoic by the Ocean. So this is a band I'm sure you don't really know very well, do you?
I don't know much about them, but since we decided to do this review, I went back and I did listen to a bunch of their older stuff, so I do know basically what these guys are about, but as far as the band itself, I don't know much about them, no.
Yeah, I got into these guys a while ago. I hadn't really listened to them in a while, like since, you know, before I heard like the news about the new album, but I went back and listened to their most recent one, Pelagial, which I believe came out in 2013.
Yeah, it's pretty old, yeah.
I think that's a masterpiece of an album, one of the most beautiful albums I've ever heard. So, you know, I was listening to that today, getting myself in the mood. Not sure what to think for this new album. We did listen to one of them. I think it was Cambrian 2.
Yep.
Eternal Recurrence.
We reacted to the video, yeah.
Yes, we did react to that video. We both liked that song. So I'm imagining like the rest of the album is going to follow suit with, you know, how that song went. It's going to be similar. So anyway, we're going to be listening to the album for the first time in its entirety, and we'll be right back to give you guys our first impressions of Phanerozoic 1, Palaeozoic. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, welcome back. We just finished listening to Phanerozoic 1, Palaeozoic, and TV Fish. I want to know what your first impressions are. Hit them with it.
Alright, so I'm kind of going to be drawing a comparison right here just to open up, but Pelagial, as I said, is such a beautiful album.
Yeah.
And it kind of says a lot about the band. It's a very atmospheric band, and you know, you definitely find that in this album, but I don't feel like this album hit the mark the same way the last one did. It was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how it was chill. I enjoyed some of the heavier parts, but it didn't really get through me like Pelagial did. I feel like the way Pelagial starts with all the water sounds, it really kind of gets you in there.
Yeah.
The Cambrian Explosion, which is the first track of this album, was good. I like how eerie it was, and you know, it set a pretty good tone for the album, all things considered. But there are a lot of moments on this album where I love the atmosphere, but there weren't too many moments where I would point out and say, wow, that was sick, and that was amazing. So it's kind of a tough thing when you're trying to listen to an album like this, because if you go into it expecting something to blow your head off at some point, then you might be disappointed.
Right.
But if you're gonna go in with the intent to just lay back and let it just sink deep into you, then you will like this album. My personal favorite, when I ranked the songs, like when I graded the songs and gave them ratings, they were all rather similar. I'd say my favorite is probably track 5, which is Devonian Nascent, Nascent, whatever. It's a long track, so it takes a while to get going. You know, the first 2 minutes of the intro, then the groove starts, and I really like that groove. Then it gets a lot nastier near the end, and it's nice. I really like it. But you know, you can compare that to the last song, Permian, the Great Dying. And it kind of felt like that song, like the 5th track, but just not as good in most aspects. It had the chill intro, nice groove. It had a, you know, darker, nastier part. You know, it focused on the bass, and it wasn't really as potent. Maybe because they already did it better in another track, so it's like hearing it again, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, I found that a lot of the tracks had these just sections that were good to listen to, that like all the music was gelling very well, the grooves were cool, it was not bad music by any means, but it just dragged on a little bit too long. And the parts that, you know, like you mentioned in Devonian Nascent, there's at about the 7-minute mark, the song's like what, almost 12 minutes long, but the 7-minute mark, the song just gets dirty. Like it gets mean, it gets dangerous, and it goes like that for a good few minutes. Basically for the rest of the song, it kind of picks up and gets good. But that is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for in music like this. This band's very progressive, but they're also very doom metal. It's like an infusion of doom metal and progressive metal, kind of mixed together. So everything's kind of mid to slow tempo, and very brooding, very dark and mean sounding. But it just kind of drags on too long. I'm looking more for moments that, you know, the aggression picks up. Maybe not so much the tempo, but I do like the tempo getting picked up every once in a while. And it breaks up the atmosphere a little more. You said this is a very atmospheric band, and it is. But when you listen to an album like Pelagial, the last album from these guys, that album just offers so much more, right? It has the same style, the same sort of vibes that this album has, but there just seems like there's more going on. This album seemed like it had a lot of space filler to me. Like a lot of moments in the songs where there's like 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there of just kind of instrumental, no vocals, and the instrumental wasn't quite grabbing me like I think it was intended to. But maybe with more listens that'll change. But as I mentioned when we were listening to it, I wish that those sections of certain songs, especially if it's like the intro of a song that's like 2 or 3 minutes long, just cut that out and make it a separate track, an instrumental interlude. I think that's a good idea. And they actually did that with one song, the sixth song, the Carboniferous Rainforest Collapse. The names of these songs are ridiculously long, and yeah, you have to be an English scholar to pronounce half of them, but it was about a 3.5 to 4 minute long instrumental song, and it was a perfect little interlude between track number 5 and track number 7.
It kind of felt like a little bit of a filler to me though. Like when I listened to it, it kind of sounded like they jammed on something and said, yo, let's make this a track, but a quick one, and just shoved it between them. But I really like your point of, what if we took the intros of some of these longer songs and made those their own interludes, so you constantly have these interludes.
Well, that's exactly my point, right?
So that's a good
When you're
concept.
saying if this feels like a filler, that's how I feel. Like the song, we talked about it already, number 5, Devonian, the build up to the song is over 2 minutes long. That to me is unnecessary. You can make that a separate track. That way if you want to skip it, it's easily skippable, right? You don't have to sit there for 2 minutes before the song actually kind of picks up and gets going, before the actual groove starts, right? So I think that those kind of the intros and these long portions of these songs should be made into separate tracks that you can skip or delete or whatever if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. I just feel that sometimes it tells a really good musical story.
It does.
And you know, with a track like Devonian Ascent, it starts nice and it does a good transition into the main groove, but I understand your sentiment. Like sometimes it's like, can I just get to the good part yet?
Yeah.
The other songs, Cambrian 2 Eternal Recurrence, that was the one that we did the reaction to.
Yep.
Which, you know, I didn't mind it. The more I think about it, it kind of felt a little bit forgettable among them. That being said, you know, when I mentioned earlier about listening to this band, it's kind of, you have to be in a specific mindset to really go into it and enjoy it.
Right.
If you're thinking the wrong way kind of about the music, then it's not really gonna...
It's not gonna jive.
Exactly. And is that really like a fault with the band?
I don't think so.
It's very specific.
I think
you can't
that's
just
okay.
throw it on.
I think that's okay though. I think it's okay for bands to be specific like that. Like, they can go sound like every run-of-the-mill band out there, but then they're not gonna have that unique sound. I wouldn't say this band's totally unique, but they definitely have something unique about them that kind of sets them apart from other bands in similar genres.
Yeah.
And you hear a lot of different aspects of this. Like, these guys sound a lot like Mastodon to me. They sound a lot like Tool. I hear different elements of different bands. There's some Mudvayne in there. Hear a little bit of like Pantera in there. There's a lot of different stuff, all kind of mishmash into one, and they perform it very well. Another thing I'll mention about this band, this album specifically, is that it's not the kind of album you can listen to and kind of pick out certain parts or certain elements of different instruments. Like, you can't say, oh, the drumming's really good or the guitar's really good. It all just meshes together very well as like one complete package. So when you're listening to it, you're listening to the whole music as just one entity. That's what I found. And there's other things intertwined. There's one song, which was the song that had the piano in it. That was number 4, Silurian Age of Sea Scorpions. Had some, like, during the middle bridge area part, it had this like little piano lick that went up,
yeah,
you know, up and down the middle.
There's the background thing.
In the background, yeah, and we heard some violin, we heard a bit of synth in there. There's a lot of vocal layerings and vocal styles.
Yeah, it's very thick music, I guess you could say. There's a lot happening, so that gives it a lot of replay value that way. You listen back to it and you pick out more things about it that are great.
I'm gonna make a prediction and say that I think this album, for me personally, is gonna be best suited as background music. When it comes to focusing on the album, any album like this really, I tend to kind of get, I don't want to say bored, because I do like the music, but it's hard for me to focus on it long enough to finish a song. You know what I mean? I kind of just get distracted and lost when all these build-up parts are happening and stuff. But I think as background music, I think this album is mint as far as a first impression goes. But we're gonna listen to it for a whole week, and we're gonna be back in a week to let you guys know what our final review and impressions are of Phanerozoic 1, Palaeozoic. These names, man.
These names are crazy.
They're brutal.
All the names of the albums are like that.
But make sure you guys give the album a listen, and leave your comments below. Let us know what you guys think about it. Like the video as usual. Subscribe if you guys are new to this channel. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Keep them heads banging. Later.